Lifewave. Today, this global force for good spans 100 countries with hundreds of thousands of delighted fans. With offices in the U.S., Ireland, and Taiwan, Lifewave has over 30,000 square feet of manufacturing space and supports customers in over 20 languages. With a solid commitment to research and continued exposure in the news media worldwide, the Lifewave brand is a recognized force in the health and wellness movement. World-class athletes in every sport use and endorse Lifewave technology as a means of achieving peak performance without the use of drugs or stimulants. Health advocates like Suzanne Summers and everyday people from all walks of life have found Lifewave vital to enjoying improved energy, better sleep, reduced pain, and more youthful vibrancy. Where did it all begin?
I remember when I was 8 years old, my parents took me down to the workshop of Thomas Edison. So when I got home that afternoon, I told my father that I wanted to be an inventor when I grew up. And my dad said to me, well, you know, there's no such job. You can't be an inventor. And I said, well, why not? He said, well, you just can't. And, you know, that's a joke that we have between the two of us that we still laugh about to this day.
Lifewave founder and CEO David Schmidt began his career in medical device design and manufacturing. In 1996, he moved to Atlanta, where he returned to his passion for inventing by joining an inventors club, winning numerous awards, and eventually forming a company based on one of his inventions.
One day I was giving a presentation for a government contractor, and they invited me to be part of a design team for one of the Navy's next generation mini-subs. So we were trying to find a way to keep people alive longer, and I thought, well, I personally object to this whole idea of using caffeine and stimulants to stay awake, so maybe there's a new way that we could approach this. So I worked on this for several years and developed the Lifewave prototypes. The problem was that we had just gone through 9/11, and the U.S. military was interested in weapons, not survival equipment. And it normally takes over 7 years to get a new product through the Navy. So I decided, well, I know that consumers are really going to love a technology that improves energy without having to use stimulants. So that's why I decided to go to the public with it.
And with those patch prototypes, David found his calling, and by summer of 2002, he launched the Lifewave company.
That first year of Lifewave was pretty rough. I remember I didn't get a lot of sleep. A very typical day for me was getting up at 6 in the morning, going about my day, doing work, phoning acupuncturists, medical doctors, athletes, personal trainers, working all day doing that, and then getting up late at night to make patches because we didn't have a patch manufacturing facility. And along the way, met one person that was interested in investing money, and he said, well, you know, I don't really know much about science or medicine. Could I have a medical doctor review this? And I said, sure. And as it turned out, that was Dr. Steve Haltiwanger.
I spent about 4 hours or longer interviewing him, and then came back a few days later and talked to him again. And so we had about a 6 hours worth of conversation over a few days. Every question I asked, he answered, and I asked him very detailed scientific questions. So I realized this man actually knew what he was talking about. So I was very impressed, and I wrote a paper that was my way of explaining to the technology from more of a biological point of view. And I sent this paper to a number of friends that were in medicine to get a review. And one of them was Dr. Carl Merritt out in California, and he shared it with Coach Richard Quick at Stanford. He was a coach of the Stanford women's swim team.
So one day, sitting in my home office in Atlanta, Georgia, and I get a call, and the voice at the other end of the phone says, David, this is Richard Quick. And then he tells me that he's been using the Lifewave patches in conjunction with Dr. Merritt, and he found that during the first 3 weeks of using the patches with his athletes, that 6 out of the 8 swimmers broke their personal lifetime best in their event. So this was absolutely huge. This was one of the breaks that I had been looking for.
That which seems extraordinary today will be commonplace in the future. If something can be done in 20 or 30 years in the future, why can't we do it today? That's what David Schmidt has done with Lifewave.
We got an opportunity to have our product on Olympic athletes. We got to have world exposure of the technology by having the athletes compete in the Olympic Games and in the Olympic trials. And I am very grateful to Coach Quick for that opportunity.
At the Olympic trials in 2004, a scandal erupted. The Stanford swimmers were doing so well that some of the other coaches accused them of using performance-enhancing drugs in the patches.
I met before the U.S. Olympic Committee and had to explain how the patches worked. They took the patches down to UCLA Microanalytical Lab, had the patches examined, and found out there weren't any drugs in them. The athletes drug tested negative, so they were completely clean. And we started to make national headlines because people wanted to know what were these patches and why were the Stanford women's swim team using them and doing so well with them.
This is a product that will really help people. It'll help people have more energy. It'll help them focus better so they can be more successful in whatever their endeavors are.
Lifewave. Today, this global force for good spans 100 countries with hundreds of thousands of delighted fans. With offices in the U.S., Ireland, and Taiwan, Lifewave has over 30,000 square feet of manufacturing space and supports customers in over 20 languages. With